Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome back to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and that didn't take very long to get some updates and some new news on the Lakers front, with Shams dropping pretty much what everybody's dropped over the past couple of weeks, but just made it seem more of like an official thing. Some people ran with it saying that JJ Redick is the new coach already, or finalizing a deal, but I don't remember seeing finalizing anywhere in the article or the tweet. It says it's, that the search is not over, which is BS totally. Just they have to say it right now, I guess, because anything can happen between now and the end of the finals when he supposedly will get hired, which it sounds like the minute after it's done, that's when it will happen. That he's the front runner. JJ Redick is the front runner to be the new head coach and the successor to Darvin Ham in Los Angeles. Well, surprise, surprise. Like anybody didn't see this coming at this point. Like it's like the worst kept secret in the NBA, but it's not a secret. It's just they can't make it official because of this ESPN commitment that JJ has that goes through the finals, obviously. But I did find that interesting. It's just weird how the news has leaked out about all this stuff. It's kind of sad that they keep saying that the job is still technically open and they're still vetting people, but it sounds more like they're vetting people just for the coaching staff rather than the head coaching position in itself. That seems more and more obvious, especially with the head coaches that are being, well, not head coaches, but coaching candidates for the coaching staff that are being mentioned and linked to these jobs. Because later in the day, Dan Wilkie came up with a report from LA Times saying that the staff that they are looking to target, or the guys that they're looking to put on the staff, include Scott Brooks, who's currently a Blazers assistant and a one-time coach of the year. I think that was at OKC. Greg St. Jean, who's the one guy I couldn't find a ton of information on, but he's a Mavs assistant. Rondo, everybody knows Rondo, two-time champ, which I think is a great addition, even though he's a first-timer. He's an assistant. He's not being a head coach. Sam Cassell, Celtics assistant. He's been around the league with assistant positions, and he's a three-time champ. So there's more championship experience. And then Jared Dudley, who won a championship with the Lakers in 2020 and was a huge locker room presence, not really so much on the floor. And he's an assistant under Jason Kidd right now, who could potentially go on to win another title with the Mavs this year, including St. Jean. But that's not a bad staff. I mean, I think JJ Redick's the wrong choice for the head coach. But considering the options and how there's practically none, I think James Borrego was on this list too. If I wrote all this down and I missed the biggest name. I think he was here. Hold on, I've got this pulled up. In-person meeting with JJ. The team also discussed filling out the bench with for Scott. While Borrego had support with the candidacy, he's covered his. So yes. He would be the top assistant, James Borrego, if he takes the job. I mean, I find this others. I mean, think of it from these guys' perspectives, right? They go in for a head coaching gig, or maybe it's something they're not telling us, and it's completely different. They're going to get vetted to be an assistant. Because I don't know how you could talk to these guys about the head coach and this. Oh no. Hey, you guys all have coaching experience and championship experience. We're going to hire this first-timer who shares a podcast with LeBron James and works for ESPN. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. He is going to be your boss. When you guys all have more experience, you all have, or majority of you have championship experience. That's wild to me. I mean, this is the state of affairs for the Lakers right now. It just kind of seems like a rudderless ship, and they're just kind of just, hey, LeBron, lead us. What do you want? And then next thing you know, I mean, I think when I mapped it out on my calendar, and if the game goes 7 games, which I kind of hope it does just for the entertainment factor, and Mavs come out on top, that's my pick, and that's who I kind of pick it with my heart because I don't want the Celtics to win. But I think they'll have a couple days before the draft, and then after that, which is June 29th, and then after that, and June 29th is the first round. There's this first year, I think they're splitting it up. So it's first round is June 26th, and second round is June 27th. And then I believe, okay, LeBron has to make his decision by the 30th or 29th of June. Opting in, opting out. He's opting out. Come on. And then the following day, around, I think 3, I believe it's 6 p.m. Eastern, so 3 p.m. Pacific is when free agency gets started. So it's that week is going to be insane, one way or another, if JJ gets hired or not. I mean, I doubt that's really going to change from here on out. We might get like more details, like I doubt contract details, but like maybe, just, who is agreed to be on staff and who hasn't, and blah, blah, blah. And maybe more official stuff comes out. I don't know. Maybe, hey, he's agreed to it, but he can't obviously do the job until he's done with ESPN. Anyway, it's a fairly big development, even though it's pretty much what we've all thought. It's just more of it's getting closer and closer to being official. So I don't see that much changing. It's like basically now they're just going to enjoy the finals, which has Cassell as an assistant, Dudley as an assistant, and Greg St. Jean. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. So yeah, just monitoring all those guys and Redick as he's on the broadcast. I don't know if he'll let it slip on there. I doubt it. He seems too bright for that, but you never know. Maybe Thorsberg asked him a question or something, and he can't help himself. And then there was another rumor that came out. It's not technically a rumor, I guess you'd say, but Lauri Markkanen, the Jazz has been linked to the Lakers, but it's a report from Heavy Sports to Sean Devney, good dude, who I trust, who I know has connections. He spoke with an anonymous NBA GM, and I guess the GM said that the dream trade candidate for the Lakers would be Markkanen. And the more that I thought about it, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. He would be really good in LA. I mean, imagine him and AD in that front court. I mean, he's not premier defender or anything, like somebody threw out, I think even in that article they were saying, imagine, Adebayo and Davis in Miami or whatever. And you're just comparing him with other like great defensive bigs or people who are considered great defensive bigs. But I thought that was interesting. I mean, if that trade rumor got brewing and there's, multiple people are reporting it, I think that'd be cool. But then again, you still got to deal with Danny Ainge, who is not, notoriously kind of stingy and kind of not the easiest guy to work with in terms of trades, as he just kind of not one to make rash, quick decisions, like he did when he was in Boston. I mean, they have a relationship with him because the Westbrook trade, him getting traded to Utah in that 3-team deal and then getting bought out. But, so trades have recently happened between these two teams. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility. This does come to fruition or becomes a discussion. I just think it's interesting. Brings another guy. He's not exactly a big star guy, but I could see him easily fitting into that third star role, which I never saw for Mitchell. And I thought Trae Young would probably struggle with it as well. Not as much as Mitchell. I think Trae Young would embrace, whatever position he's in and kind of make it his own. But I think Mitchell wants that number one spotlight. Like, I think that's why he wanted to go to New York. He wanted to be on the biggest stage, but he wanted to be the guy. And now that's Jalen Brunson, and that's not changing anytime soon. So I don't think if he gets dealt, it's going to be to New York. Probably to Miami, my guess would be. Miami's a little desperate now the windows closing. Butler's not getting any younger. They need another guy clearly, because once Butler went down, that team couldn't do anything in the playoffs. What did they win? One game against Boston? And even though that's one out of the 2 games that Boston lost throughout the entire playoffs so far, still it's, I would think Pat Riley's getting a little anxious, a little impatient, and wants to pull the trigger, because we all know that they wanted Damian Lillard really bad, and Lillard wanted them. It just didn't turn out that way. The Blazers kind of screwed them. But, Blazers didn't want what they were given, So, I mean, I can't really blame them for not taking back something just to take back something and get rid of Lillard, who wanted out. But anyway, that would be, Miami be interesting. But I think inevitably we're going to hear soon that he's signed this massive extension, and it's all that's speculation over, and we'll focus more on Darius Garland, Jared Allen, maybe even Mobley. I don't know. But that situation will probably change quickly. And who knows, maybe Garland's the guy that the Lakers want. But I really feel like Dan Gilbert's reluctant to deal with the Lakers just because of the whole LeBron thing. He doesn't – I don't know if they've got beef still or what. But I don't know. It just – that report coming out saying he didn't want to work with the Lakers or trade Mitchell to the, it just kind of had that kind of feel to it, like, screw LA, screw LeBron kind of deal. I could be wrong, and that could completely change in the weeks ahead, but for now, that's it. And then I thought it was interesting that LeBron, I think their podcast is dropping tomorrow, which would be Wednesday. I just got on here quick, even though I did one yesterday or the day before, because I just watched the Clippers documentary. Or not, I guess, not a documentary, but like more of like a no, not even that. Just the show, goddamn show. Okay, Doc Rivers played by Laurence Fishburne, and it goes through the whole Donald Sterling thing, and I was hooked. I watched both the episodes that they've released, just to get the show off the ground tonight, consecutively, and I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen. It was as somebody who's been connected to the Lakers for a very, very long time and had just a dislike for the Clippers for so long. It was like pure entertainment, because they were way more of a shit show than I thought. I mean, I already knew it was bad. I saw all the Sterling stuff and all the Sterling tapes that came out and stuff, but them portraying it on film this way, and then the CP3 Blake Griffin beef apparently was real. That those two really didn't like each other. That evolved a little bit as the 2 episodes went on, but initially it was like it was a lot of animosity. Like, Chris Paul comes in, instantly thinks he's the leader. Blake Griffin thinks he's the leader because he's was playing on the team when they were absolute shit, and in front of no fans or whatever. It's just interesting. There's all these little subplots, and seeing these actors portray these players that so well. And I saw on Twitter somebody's already clowning because it goes through the Clippers playing the Warriors in the playoffs, and Stephen Curry. They show Stephen Curry and they show Draymond Green. They show Steph, and I didn't think it was awful, but somebody went on Twitter just like, "Oh, how can this be Stephen Curry?" It's like, it's impossible to get athletes that look exactly like these guys, man. I remember the Lakers show recently, Space Winning Time. The guy who played Isaiah something played Magic Johnson. I thought was amazing, right? Looked a little bit like Magic Johnson, had the Magic, smile, and ear-to-ear smile, and lighting up a room kind of thing. And the guy who played Kareem was really good. But you can't criticize this stuff, dude, just because he doesn't look just like him. Like, come on, dude. The guy played Blake Griffin doesn't look anything like him either. Or DeAndre or Chris Paul. But it's a show, man. That's the thing. And even Laurence Fishburne, they make him look as much like Doc Rivers as they possibly can. They do a pretty good job, but he's such a good actor, you don't even care. You just kind of watching and enjoying. But man, and the the funny thing, I mean, this is the month of JJ Redick, because, or months, I guess you'd say. He's the first thing that gets talked about in the show is Rivers gets hired and then immediately wants to go after JJ Redick, who wants to go to Minnesota, I think, because they meet at a bar. Doc Rivers is like, "Oh, we'll match any contract offer that you get." And I thought that was interesting because you never see these kind of things in real time, or like, through articles and tweets, and you just, you've got a picture in your head of what's going on, and you don't see these meetings at a bar, if that even happened. I don't know, but it was cool to see. It kind of reminded me of Moneyball, which is one of my favorite sports movies ever, and there's barely any sports being played in the movie. But when Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill are in Billy Bean's office, right, and they're trying to work out a trade to get a pitcher, I think, and move Pena, who's like their best player on the team, but they want this system to work, that they come up with, and they have to make a bold move, and so they're doing this, and he's like talking to two GMs like at the same time, and it's all sped up, obviously, but I just thought it was so damn intriguing. I was like, man, I wish I could be on the fly on the wall in a GM's office, right? Even if they like bleep out the names of the players and the teams that they're working with, just to see how they work and like the kind of conversations they have. Is it heated? Is it just civil and like very business-like, or how does it go? How does it work? I think that's so interesting. Like, I would love to watch a whole movie or documentary just on that, like the life of an NBA GM, and just see how conversations happen. And, obviously do what you can to keep other teams and players safe and all that stuff and not mention them. But just to see their day-to-day, see their process, see how hard that job is. It's got to be an impossibly hard job, extremely stressful, where it's just on the go and constantly criticized. And, you're never really considered the winner of anything, right? Like you can pull off a major trade and you might get praised for like a week, but it ain't going to last, because there is going to be a trade down the road where you bomb it, right? Like for every Anthony Davis trade for Pelinka, you have the Westbrook trade, which is like polar opposites, right? For superstars. You bring in Davis, you immediately win a title, right? You bring in Westbrook, everything goes to shit really fast, and you're public enemy number one. That's what happens, right? And it happens so fast. But like I said, I just found that super interesting. And I was like, man, just stay at the bar. I want more of this. It was only like a 5-minute scene, but I thought it was interesting. And then, the interactions between Sterling and Doc Rivers, who must, I don't know how Doc stayed sane in LA. I honestly don't. I guess the winning helps, right? And it's not like they won a title or anything, or any huge playoff series, but at least they were a competitive team and they had that hope of winning a title, right? That it was possible. So maybe that kept him going. But damn, dude, I'm surprised Doc even wants to coach anymore. Like it sounded like Sterling was in his ear all the time, and it was just ramblings. Because Ed O'Neill's the one who plays Sterling, who's the guy from Modern Family. I know him not personally, but like from my childhood, growing up watching Married with Children. I thought he was absolutely hilarious. Al Bundy, classic. Wouldn't fly today. That show wouldn't fly today. But it's just like in Living Color when I was growing up. That show killed me, right? It's like Saturday Night Live on steroids, right? Like, but extremely funny. Nothing awkward, really. Like, Jim Carrey started there. Damon Wayans. Jennifer Lopez was a fly girl. Jamie Foxx. I mean, it was incredible. If you haven't seen it, go look it up, man. They got some incredible skits that are just they make you laugh until you cry over and over and over again. But anyway, that's besides the point. Ed O'Neill, great actor too. He plays him off as a total scumbag, but kind of I thought it was a little interesting because he seems somewhat intelligent and sharp, but just so, I don't know, psychotic might be a strong word, but just off the rails. like a guy who's totally unchecked his whole life, right? Somebody who's never hears no, right? He's got yes men all around him. There's one guy running around like an assistant of his who's just like his little bitch boy, like just goes and does whatever he wants. And he's just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. And he's trying to kiss everybody's ass, like kiss Doc's ass, V. Stiviano's ass. It's a great show so far. I'm hooked. I can't wait till next week. I wish they would have dropped the whole thing at once because I would have binged the whole thing tonight. Don't care what time I want to go to bed. It would have been awesome. But I think this is why they do it, because people are going to talk about it on podcasts, on ESPN and other shows. And it's just going to get a lot of buzz. That's why I jumped on, because I'm like, man, if I don't talk about this now, it's going to be kind of, rehashed news over and over by the time it comes out. But I was just loving every minute of it. And I hope the rest of the series is awesome, because it's worth watching. And there's no shows right now, man. I'm waiting for House of Dragons, the new Game of Thrones prequel series or whatever. And even that didn't really really intrigue me in the first season. It's been a long ass time since that's been out. There's a huge gap in between seasons. But this, I'm in. And Outer Range, Amazon, Josh Brolin. Sorry, James Brolin. That's his dad. Awesome. I love season 1. Season 2 just came out. Already binged the whole damn thing. Done. Another awesome show. Just if you're looking for something. I'm like kind of a sci-fi buff. I love those kind of shows that keep you thinking. And anyway, totally off the subject. But another thing that came up was LeBron talking about Kyrie, which I thought was pretty interesting, because he said, excuse me, he said he misses being his running mate so fucking bad, in quotes. We're so fucking mad that he's not his running mate anymore. I thought it was interesting that he said mad. Like, why are you mad, dude? It just didn't happen, right? I mean, the Lakers tried. They tried over and over again, and it just didn't work, because the Nets were not buying what the Lakers were selling, which was, I think it was Westbrook and 2 first-round picks, and they just didn't want it. So they took what Dallas offered, and then obviously he signed with the team in free agency. And even though there was some speculation he might come to LA in free agency, he didn't take long to put his name on the dotted line to stay in Dallas, even after a season where they missed the playoffs and looked like shit. And it looked like Luka and Kyrie just wouldn't work. I mean, I honestly didn't think it was going to work. I was like, there's 2 guys that need the ball in their hands like all the time. But now watching in the playoffs, every round, I watched the OKC round. I didn't watch the Clippers round. I think I watched maybe 1 game or half a game. But I was too involved in the Lakers series. And once the Lakers were out, I was like all in on Dallas. I was like, okay, I want to see this, because I love watching Luka. I think he's, outside of bitching and moaning all the time, complaining about every single non-call, even phantom calls that you're like, what the hell is he talking about? He is an incredible player. I mean, just remarkable. That last series against Minnesota, especially in that elimination game in the end, game 5, he was just like, I want this over, and scored 20 points in the first quarter, outscored the Timberwolves by himself, 20-19. And I was like, this guy is the real deal. Like, I thought there was no way anyone was going to come close to dethroning Jokic as the best player in the league. And I think Luka's already done it. But just that's those 2 series alone, OKC and Dallas, even though he struggled against OKC and he looked really banged up in OKC, and all of a sudden now he's like just firing all cylinders. It's kind of wild, but he just shows you he in the biggest moments. I mean, I was like, man, this is what we're missing. Like, these guys that just come up in these big moments consistently over and over and over again, right? It's just that the playoffs weren't great, but that series was at least entertaining, just because just watching Luka and Kyrie cook. Kyrie was just feeding off of Luka, just like, okay, my turn. And they traded back and forth, and just the fact that Luka can lean on him and Kyrie can lean on Luka, it's a great mix. And hopefully it doesn't explode in the finals and just become a clusterfuck. But right now it looks pretty incredible, and I can't wait to see him take on the Celtics. I hope he cooks them, torches them. Somebody said sweep today. I was like, no way in hell that's happening. Boston's too good, right? I mean, I'd say at best for Dallas, it ends in 6. I just can't see Boston not winning at least 2 games. They're favored. They're heavy favorites, I think. So it's gonna be against the odds. I mean, they were underdogs in the Western Conference Finals too, and then look what happened there. I mean, it was almost like no contest. The way they were shutting them out. I mean, I don't even know how the hell Minnesota won that game 4. They shouldn't have really, but they did. They just all of a sudden, Karl Towns, the best big man shooter of all time, which is the biggest joke. That guy just needs to stop talking until he actually does something. But actually finding his stroke again. But it's going to be a fun series. I can't wait for it. And I thought it was cool that somebody asked Kyrie about Kobe, and he was saying how much he's impacted his life and how important Kobe was and how his family still is, and what he's meant to him. I thought that was really cool. Clearly, he's fed off that, and I'm sure he's going to be thinking about him throughout the whole finals and using all the things that he's taught him and the phrases that he's learned, to keep him motivated and focused. So I can't wait to see what Kyrie does. It's going to be fun, man. Boston is a hell of an opponent. It's just they got the star power, and then they're very good defensively. That backcourt, it's like they say, Dallas has the best offensive front or backcourt. I think Boston has the best defensive backcourt with Derek White and Drew Holiday. So that just makes it, it's that classic matchup against offense, defense. And then you got the Tatum piece of it. Tatum was also a big, Kobe fan. And, I remember, what was that? The last time they were in finals, he was wearing the armband or whatever, which I thought looks really weird when you're wearing a Celtics jersey. I'm sure that rubbed a lot of Celtics fans the wrong way. But it's cool. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's a strong, entertaining end to the season, and then we jump right into the Lakers season, off season, like immediately, right? JJ hired, coaching staff finalized, draft, whether or not they pick up Bronny or not, or some other. I mean, I honestly don't follow college basketball at all. I feel like it's just gotten worse and worse over the years, and just serious lack of interest. I mean, it goes to show, that the players that are being considered for number 1 are overseas. You have Wembanyama this year, and Alex Sarr, also from France this year. And I heard there was an interesting rumor going on that I think San Antonio's got 2 picks in the top 10. I want to say 6 and 8. I don't know for sure. I don't want to say that and put my foot in my mouth, but draft order. But I mean, I guess Sarr is like the real catch, right? And he's an international. Excuse me. Yeah. So it's 4 and 8. San Antonio has 4 and 8. I heard they might package those 2, pitch it to Atlanta to get number 1, bring in Sarr and Wembanyama, which I think would be dope. I think that'd be really cool. 2 French guys on a team that's propelled one of the best French players in history, Tony Parker. So they got connections there, and that'd be a good start. And then I think all they'd have to do not all, they've got a lot to do, but if the rumors are true, go try and get Trey or bring back DeJounte Murray. Get in a point guard who can handle the damn ball. I mean, that didn't make any sense that team had no real ball handler or somebody who could, initiate the offense, especially when you got a guy that you were building around. Like, start building around him. It's like they just got him, and they're just like, okay, we'll just run with what we got. They weren't willing to do anything. But if they don't do anything now, I feel bad for Wembanyama, because they're just going to waste years of his career when he's already like a top flight player. Like, almost winning Defensive Player of the Year in your rookie year. And so some people make the argument, you look at Gobert and Wembanyama next to each other with stats-wise, and it's no contest. It should be Wembanyama, but go figure. I mean, it's whatever, you know. Gobert's got, 4 now? Which is crazy. And then you see how exposed he got in that series against Dallas. Just the fundamental mistakes he was making defensively. I was like, what the hell, man? Like it. Anyway, not like it matters or anybody gives a shit at this point. It's a different team, different player. But like I said, watch this. It's called Clipped on Hulu. I got the Disney Plus Hulu ESPN package thing, which I think is still relatively cheap, $20 or so. Go get that. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just think that was a cool deal when I got it first, and still seems that way because Disney's got, a bunch of Marvel stuff, obviously all their Disney stuff, and then obviously ESPN Plus is good. Anyway, I don't want to sound like I'm pitching anything. Go watch it. It's fun. It's entertaining. I think it's only going to get better. There's going to be a lot of buzz about it. I guarantee. It was enough to get me on here at midnight. Just go watch it. It's going to be fun. Little Clippers bashing entertainment until the Lakers actually do something, which will probably be in 2-3 weeks. But until then, hopefully we get some more news, or at least this show becomes, he continues to be entertaining. See you later. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.